But you had the other characters who were Robert Duchesne, who basically, his awareness of what they've done is what brings him back to the faith that drew him into the church in the first place. Mm-hmm. And the fact that the faith that he was raised in is an artificial construct, okay? But it's an artificial construct which, if you look at it very closely, encompasses the tenets of several of the major religions, and which has emphasized from the very beginning the fact that you are supposed to love your fellow human beings. You're supposed to help them. You're supposed to be there for them. In many ways, it's been a very positive institution, which is one reason it was able to gain the amount of power that it had. But the way that the first 8 or 9 books shake out, you're aware that Duchesne believes that Duchesne is a good guy who is trapped by his previous actions and is trying to fix it, who's willing to die to fix it, but he doesn't want to die and fail to fix it, if you see what I'm saying. And you see the change in Maguire, the general who backs him in the end. You see their growth. In this book, hopefully you see inside the church itself with somewhat more compassionate eyes to understand that the faith these people have is genuine. Mm-hmm. And that, and then, of course, at the end of the book, I have, this apparition turn up and tell them, by the way, it's all a lie. Which is going to have interesting consequences down the road for everybody involved. But I would have preferred for this book to be maybe 2 books. But I was afraid that if I made it more than 1 book, I would get into the, but it's really going to take 3. It's really going to take whatever to do it. And the function of this book is to deal with the things that I've just been talking about, but also to bridge between the primary conflict zones of the Charisian Empire and the rest of it. And also to give me a little bit longer to get some of the tech. By the time the next book starts up, the steam shovels are going to be at work digging the canal, kind of thing. So, the trains are fully developed. We are going to have steam-powered cars and trucks and whatnot. Okay. And all of those are going to play their part in the next war. And yes, it's a David Weber book, so there will be a war at some point in here. And we kind of have, I can't decide whether he's closer to Adolf Hitler or Benito Mussolini running the Republic at the end of this book. And thereby hangs a lot of conflict in the upcoming books. He's going to be responsible for a lot of it. Now, of course, that stupid frickin' Harchong emperor down in South Harchong, he's going to be, and let's not forget Desner, but it's going to be militarily, okay. The balance is going to be probably closer to being in Cheris's favor from the outset rather than the other way around. The problem is going to be more geographical than because, the Charisian Empire spread over 2/3 of the planet, okay? And it's kind of like, I think there's actually a point in Through Fiery Trials where I specifically have someone other than a Charisian say more or less, they have to control the seas. They said that they can't afford not to. Siddermark is pissed off with Charis in part because Charis is not kicking these other folks when they're down. This is really driving me crazy. I almost need to go get the book and look. I can't believe I can't remember the name. I can't remember character names. I can't remember the name of them. Anyway, they're the guys who invaded Siddermark from the west when the church declared holy war. And Siddermark is still pissed with them over that, which Siddermark has a right to be, kind of thing. And yet here they are becoming... They and Charis respect each other very much at the end of the hostilities. Okay, I mean, they were outclassed, but they're the guys who turned the Charisian POWs over to the Inquisition. Okay, but they really didn't have a choice, when they had to do that. But the sense that both sides fought clean, both sides, and these guys put up a hell of a fight for somebody who was on the short end of the secret technology stick. Okay. And so they are going to be... There's not a good analog, really, to Earth. But the fact that they and Charis are on speaking terms and that they are going to take over what was supposed to be Siddermark's share of building the canal, okay, because Siddermark just literally can't. It's in default. It's been in default for years at this point. That's going to rub a lot of people in the Republic the wrong way. And the guy who wound up winning the election is going to play on that when it's time for him to suddenly turn Siddermark into an enemy of Charis rather than an ally of Charis. And then the church is going to have to decide what to do, and the church is having to deal with this whole vision of Schuller kind of thing. And so it's going to be interesting to see how Vicar Timothy Robert deals with it when it comes across his desk. And it's going to create tensions within the church. So the church doesn't have the power that it had before Armageddon Reef to be an arbiter, to step on wars anyway. And if the religious component becomes part of what's going on, I'm not saying it will, you understand, but if it should happen, then the church is going to be like, for the first time in the history, in human history, as far as the folks on Safehold know, the sanctity, the veracity of the Holy Writ has been called into question. Okay? Even when Charis was doing its thing, okay, nobody questioned the fundamental teachings of the Holy Writ. What they were quibbling over was legitimately whether or not the church as it existed was doing what the Archangel Schuller and all the other archangels expected it to do. Okay? Now they have somebody telling them in terms that only the writ was ever able to tell them, that Shahira lied. Okay. So this isn't like somebody questioning the Gospels here. Okay, this isn't even like some heretic in the Middle Ages saying, "Oh, I don't know, I don't think," kind of. This is an assault on the fundamental known written history of Safehold.